Rule number 72. The tense of the participle shows its relative time with respect to the main verb of its clause. In Rule 71, we looked at the consecutio temporum, the sequence of tenses, and how the tense of the subjunctive represents relative time period more than actual time. The present and imperfect subjunctive shows same time or incomplete action in relation to the main verb, while the perfect and pluperfect subjunctive are used to show completed or past action, again, in relation to the main verb. We are going to look at the same sort of concept, the tense as relative time, but in this video with participles. First, a quick review. A participle is an action in the form of an adjective, so a verbal adjective. Like an adjective, it describes a noun and has case, number, and gender, and like a verb, it has tense and voice and can take an object. The three tenses of the participle are present, perfect, and future, essentially now, the past, and the future, and the two voices are active and passive. You probably have seen a chart like this describing the forms of the participle. So, to borrow from Virgil, omnipotens filium aras tenentem audiit. The Almighty, that would be Jupiter, heard his son, in this case that's Iarbas, holding the altars. The participle tenentem is describing filium, both are accusative, masculine, and singular, and tenentem is in the present tense, in the active voice, and it takes an object, that's aras here, holding the altars, aras tenentem. But even though tenentem is a present participle, it's not happening in the present time. Instead, it's happening at the same time as our main verb, the perfect tense audiit. Or we could say that the action of holding the altars is in progress at the time of the main verb audiit. In other words, Iarbas the son was in the process of holding the altars when Jupiter heard him. Here's another example of a present participle from Sallust. Volventes hostilia cadavera amicum reperiebant. While rolling over the corpses of the enemy, they found a friend. The volventes, describing the nominative plural subject, is a present participle, so it's showing an action happening at the same time, or it's in progress when the friend is found. So the present participle shows same time action or action in progress in relation to the main verb. The perfect participle then shows an action that is already completed when the action of the main verb takes place. Note that the Latin perfectus means completed. So Cicero said, "Intelligit me ita paratum venire." He understands that I come prepared. The paratum describes me, and as a perfect participle shows that the preparation is done and completed by the time Cicero came. Here's a perfect participle of a deponent verb in this sentence, adapted from Caesar. Nam nostri consectati singulas naves expugnaverunt. For our men, having overtaken the ships one by one, captured them. The deponent participle consectati has an active meaning here, even though it's still showing a completed action. Caesar's men were only able to capture the ships after they had first overtaken them. And so that leaves the future participle, which shows an action that has yet to happen when the action of the main verb takes place. Aeneas describes Priam in burning Troy with densos fertur moriturus in hostes. He is carried into the crowded part of the enemy, going to die. The action of moriturus has yet to happen when the action of fertur takes place. And Cicero describes Milo as fortem et conservandum virum, a man brave and deserving to be preserved. The future passive conservandum, also known as the gerundive, is an action that has yet to happen. Some deponent participles in the perfect tense are used with the sense of the present. So insidias veritus exercitum castris continuit, fearing a trap, he kept his army in the camp. Even though veritus is a perfect participle, it's clear from the context that the fearing is happening while he kept the army safe. And just keep this in mind, especially with the deponents ratus, solitus, veritus, arbitratus, fisus, ausus, and secutus, among others. So in summary, you should think of the tenses of the participle as entirely relative in relation to the main action of its clause. The present shows same-time action or action in progress. The perfect shows time before or completed action, and the future shows an action that has yet to happen. The tense names can be a bit misleading in this respect, since it's all relative time with participles. And this has been rule number 72. The tense of the participle shows its relative time with respect to the main verb of its clause.